On this first lesson, before we begin working on our illustration, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about colors and how I create the palettes that I ultimately use on my illustrations. So as you can see here, I just made a bunch of squares on Illustrator. So you can see all the colors that I picked for this illustration. And what I did is basically thinking about or thought about what colors were going to appear on my illustration. So I'm going to be illustrating a solar system, so I know for sure that I'm going to be needing yellows or oranges for the sun, and then maybe some blues and greens for the earth, and then some purples for Saturn or the other planets. So you can do that by looking at references on Google or wherever you can find an image of for example, the earth, and then you can see which colors you think would fit. And two websites that I use a lot and that I would recommend for you is one is ColorOnThatCall, and here you can see the new ones, the hot ones, the populars, or random. And here what you can see is are palettes that have a lot of colors, and you can find a shade or a color that you think would work well for your illustration. So for example, if I like this this green, what I can do is just select this number and just select Ctrl+C to copy, and then what I can do is go back here to Illustrator and then just go here on the number or the hashtag, and then Ctrl+P to paste just the numbers and letters that I just had, and you can have this exact same green that you were looking at the website. And then another very good site that I like is this ColorSetCode, and what I do here is that if you can use the generator, which is free, and you click there, and what this does is that it makes you a palette for you. And for example, let's say that you like this red, so you can lock this color and then press the spacebar and find another color that you think would work well. So for example, you could think that this red works well with this this gray, so you can lock it and then keep pressing the spacebar until you find a bunch of colors that you think would work well for your illustration. And just as in the other page or website, you can select the number or and paste it here on Illustrator to have the exact same shade of color. And one thing that I like to do a lot is once I find a color that I like, for example this purple, I try to have one that is darker and another one that is lighter, so I can add some color variation in my illustrations and not have the exact same purple in the whole illustration. And I do that also with, for example, this blue. I also had a lighter version and a darker version. And once you have select all your colors that you know you're going to be using, the way you can create a palette is very simple. You simply select all your colors like I did here, and you can go here on this little folder on the swatches, and if you click there, you can even name your color group. So for example, here I can name it like solar system colors, and then I can make sure that I check this one, the convert process to global, so I have global colors, and then I'm gonna hit OK. And as you can see here, now I have all my palette representing the same colors that I had here. And another thing that you can see is that I have a little rectangle here on the colors, and that means that this color is a global color. So if I click here, you can see that the global check mark is checked. And the really nice thing here is that you can see this is the same red. So if I say, for example, okay, I didn't like it that much, I wanted to make it a little bit more pink and darker, so I can do that and I can hit OK, and you can see how automatically the color that was applied here on my illustration, or in this case these squares, has changed for the one that I changed here on my swatches. So this is a very efficient way to change your colors without having to select all the elements that you had with that color already. So with this, we can begin working on our illustration by deleting all these squares and having our palette. I'm going to actually undo this because I like that red. So I'm going to delete this, and we're going to be ready to begin working on our illustration, and we're going to do that on the next lesson.